Hello and welcome to the World Changemaker podcast, where we have engaging conversations with everyone from entrepreneurs to advocates. I'm your host, Cinnamon Alvarez. Be ready to get inspired because our guest today is going to share their story, insights, and golden nuggets with us about how they're making a meaningful difference in people's lives and in our communities. If you like what you hear today, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And while you're there, leave us a review. Hello
Okay.
and welcome to another episode of the World Changemaker podcast. I am your host, Cinnamon Alvarez, and we are going to have an engaging conversation today with Ernie Silvers. If you have fun today, you get inspired, please remember to subscribe, share about us, anything we have to do, and we are going to jump right in. So Ernie, you wear many hats. You're a
I
full-time
do.
faculty member right now,
I
right?
am. Yes. Contrary to
Um,
popular belief, I am allowed to teach students at Cal State San Bernardino. Yes.
Entrepreneurship, business management, graduate programs. You come from the manufacturing background before that.
Mhm, mhm.
I like how you call yourself a chief
I
instigator.
am the chief instigator. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a people take business too serious sometimes, though it is a serious business. We like to have fun while we're doing it. I like the Southwest Airlines approach, really. We have fun doing serious business. So that's the way I like to do it.
So tell me more about your serious business having fun and the impact you make.
Absolutely. Well, you've heard the statement, hire the best people and get the heck out of their way. And that's what I try to do. Although I've been criticized for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
tell
but
me
so
more.
I had someone tell me one time, said, you know what your problem is? I said, well, it's a long list. Where would you like to start? But so the problem is that you give people assignments and then you actually expect them to do it. And I said,
Oh,
wait,
imagine
what?
that.
Isn't that how it's supposed to work? So some people do like to be micromanaged. Some people do like to be left alone, reasonably autonomous at varying levels. I like to give people the authority to do their job. And I like them to bring their own spice to the party, if you will, do the job better than
No
it was
pun
done before
intended
you.
with
No,
meeting here with Cinnamon. Yep.
no. Oh, no, that's nice though. I like that. Yeah, no, no, no pun
So,
intended.
so if
Sorry.
you don't mind, I want to talk more about that because
Yeah.
one of my favorite interview questions is, do you like to ask for permission or forgiveness? But I
Oh.
have noticed that really great leaders and people who are successful, they are successful at getting out of the way.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, Now, and some people do like to, some people are very uncomfortable actually that's why I like to ask that in the interview process, is some
mhm,
people really like specific standard operating procedures to follow.
mhm.
And if they don't have that and there's too much autonomy, they're uncomfortable. But tell me about your leadership style and how you've learned to adapt this. And I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs who can learn
Well,
from
I think what you have to
trusting in that.
do is you have to have, I would say, a couple of different styles. You can't have one hard and fast rule because people are different. So you have to first learn, how does the entity that you're overseeing, how do they work best? And you're right. Some people work great, autonomous. Some people need to be handheld through it. Either is okay. You just need to understand what it is they do. And people do. I have a new employee now who just started with me at the college. And the comment she made was, I've only been in your office for a few days, and I think I know you better than I knew my boss I worked with a year ago.
Mm.
So I'm a big communicator, perhaps an over communicator. I'm not a helicopter manager. I don't want to be in your business per se. I teach in my classes. I teach asking forgiveness as opposed to asking permission. I say I understand how that works, so don't do that to me, right? Don't do that to me, but because I know what it looks like. I just and my style is, I want to know what you're doing and that we're on the same page, but I want you to do it, right? If you need help, ask. Please ask. My job is to help you do your job to the best of your ability, to provide you with tools, instructions, oversight, mentoring, whatever it is you need. But honestly, I expect you to do the job. And I'm going to, bad word, I'm going to imagine or I was going to say assume. I'm going to imagine that you know how to do your job unless and until you show me differently,
Hmm.
right?
Which
And
hopefully is through communication, not through demonstrating.
I'm perfectly fine with people that come up and say, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, you know,
Yeah.
because that's me most of the time. Jack Welch said, be comfortable being the dumbest person in the room. I think that's a huge advantage because if you remove the mystique of the all knowing, and especially like when I'm consulting for people, I'm not all knowing. In fact, I'm a brand new person in your business. I probably don't know squat about what you do here. I know some things, I don't know everything, but together we can work this out.
So let's talk about that for a
Yeah.
second.
Mhm.
Right. Because I think that the like beginner's mind we hear it referred to sometimes, the not
Mhm.
knowing is such a powerful place to be. But we also are taught fake it till you make it. I think in the business world, to land the contract, to get the ideal client, the position, we present our strengths.
Yeah.
But then there's that part of, in fact, I'm playing with really like humility and being humble and stepping back. And I'm in a leadership role
Mhm.
all the time. So it's
Mhm.
very difficult to sometimes forget I'm giving orders and bossing people around. And, talk about that not
Mhm.
knowing and how valuable that is and how people can put that into play.
I like both perspectives. There is a certain amount of fake it till you make it. You just kind of have to. However, there's also power in asking questions, right? And saying, all right, I was the CEO of a small manufacturing firm. I used to oversee manufacturing. I can't spell manufacturing, let alone oversee it, but my job was to make sure these folks did their job right. So my position with those folks who are far more talented than I was to say, okay, so you know how to operate this equipment the best. Help me understand, how does this work, right? The one thing that most people, non-leaders, what they can't do is they can't make a decision. They can't problem solve. They can't troubleshoot. They can't make a decision, right? They have all the equipment usually. They have the ability to help walk through it and determine what the best choice might be. They can't pull the trigger, right?
Mhm.
And what I do with my folks is say, look, provided it isn't illegal, immoral, and defensible in a court of law, you weren't being stupid, you weren't trying to hurt people, you weren't breaking things on purpose, there's probably nothing here you can't do that I can't fix, right? So you have the freedom to do your job. And if you are trying to do the job to the best of your ability and you screw it up colossal, we'll celebrate. We'll laugh at you. Yay. But then you get to fix it and clean it
Or we'll
up.
fire you if it's really
No,
bad. But
well, try not to do that because a lot of folks are living under the threat of, if I mess up, I'm going to be terminated. And celebrating failure, having the freedom to fail, right? In a good way. Like I said, you genuinely were trying to do the best that you can, and it didn't work out for you this time, right?
yeah.
You celebrate that because that's all part of learning. You learn more from failure than you do success, right?
So Ernie, if you don't mind, I want to rewind a little bit
Mm,
to where you said can't make a decision.
yeah.
Because there's two different perspectives of that. One is you don't have the executive authority. So like I teach my staff, if it's a $20 decision, please don't come to me. Like make the decision. If it's $1,000 decision, by all means, come to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that.
But
But make a
there
decision.
are also similar to the what I was talking about, some people who like very clear outline they like to follow,
Mhm.
and they don't like to make decisions on their own. They're not comfortable making decisions. So I just wanted to kind of go over when you say can't make a decision, there's two different pieces. Is one, we don't want you
Yeah,
to, and some people aren't
I
comfortable making decisions.
and that's unfortunate. I'll do my best to teach you how to do that. And
Yeah.
ideally, if I've done my job as leader manager, I have taught you, helped you learn how to trust yourself, trust your gut, and make a decision. Don't come to me and ask me, what do I do? Come to me and say, I have this situation and I've been thinking about this. What are your thoughts? Oh, okay. So now I can see that you've tried to troubleshoot it. You have some understanding. You haven't just said, Mom, fix this, right? So there's a difference. You have to learn to make decisions. Unfortunately, what I Many managers use bad parenting skills, right? No one
Mm.
ever taught them to be managers. No one taught them to be leaders.
You
So who
mean we want
teaches
to be
us?
liked first?
Well, we want to be liked first, of course, because I
That's
can
too
remember.
telling. That's what I think
It
of
is too
parents
telling.
today.
I tell. I used to have an HR manager. I used to tell, okay, today you're manager, not mommy, manager. So let's be manager. I teach having a relationship with your boss or your employees. So walking up to you isn't going to frighten you as an employee, or
Mm.
walking up to your boss. Now, we're not going to be friends. We're not going to be besties. That's not the deal. But while we're working together, there needs to be this collegial relationship so that we can work, we can talk. I'm not threatened by your presence, and vice versa. And we can troubleshoot things. We can argue about how to get it done, maybe without it becoming personal.
Mm.
And the phrase is, if you want to be liked, sell ice cream. But you
Or
can't
give
be
it
liked
away.
all the give it away. Yeah, yeah. But we all do. It's a human thing. You want to be liked. We want to be liked. But
So relationship, and I like to highlight because you're giving so many really great
oh,
golden nuggets for people to really, I want it to seep in for them. One of my very first mentors was a sales rep, and I would always want to jump straight into business. And
mhm.
he would say, Cinnamon, how's your life? And he taught me that all business is relationships. Like sometimes we forget they are human beings on the other side. And we think
Yeah.
they're malicious, they're out to get us. I call it like the us versus them, like the employee boss relationship. Oh, the company must be trying to take advantage of me, or
Those
you
evil
know,
people.
those
Yeah,
evil people, or
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
what do you
There
and it's
are
interesting because I see where you're describing is you keep this position of authority, right? You're the
yeah,
professor.
yeah.
Um, and you understand that you're human beings also, like you said, they know more about you. So how do you balance that in the workplace and for business, and talk more about?
It's yeah, okay. The balance thing is a challenge because you're going to have good days and not so good days, right? That's the nature of it all. But you don't stop trying. You keep trying, and you just, as you said, you realize that there's a person on the other end of that employee, and the person is always going to be in there. We always say, leave it at the door. Don't bring that crap to work. Well, guess what they do, and you have to understand that. Um, so you're not the friend, you're not a counselor, you're not the therapist, though sometimes you are, right? I mean, it just happens that way, but it's not really your job. But you have to take care of the person. If there is something in their life that's distracting them and they can't do their job, especially if it's going to create a safety issue, then why don't you go home and fix that? And when you're done, you can come back, right? Because my first important thing is you as a person, you the worker, and
Yeah,
then we can get the
well-being
work
for
done. Yeah, we
safety.
need to get you in a healthy mind space. And you just keep trying, boundaries though, right? I mean, I care about you, but to a point. And it's, if you work in a small business, and I hear businesses say, "Oh, we're like family," and that makes HR people cringe because like,
Yeah, I know.
don't do that. But
I'm
in some
guilty. I
places,
have a family environment business. We have coffee together. We have lunch together. We celebrate
yeah,
birthdays. I'm the mother, the godparent.
if
Um,
that works, that's
but
good. That's a different environment,
yeah,
right?
but really, and this is interesting because I want to talk. You brought up parenting. Maybe
Mm,
people and parenting could also learn from some of the management. But
no,
you have
no,
my creative gears turning. But I think that we have a family style environment, but it's a
yeah.
team, and
Mhm.
there are still roles that people play, kind
There
of like
are.
on a soccer team.
I
And
think there has to be boundaries, as
yep.
long as we don't forget that this is a real business. We pay real money. We do real work. We have real customers. There's all of that,
Hmm.
and we do that serious business, having fun. That's important. And as long as the boundaries stay in place, and where people are free to do the best job they possibly can and grow in their abilities, while we're having a really close family-like relationship at work, as long as we don't lose focus on our goal,
Yep.
on our mission to grow our
There you
business,
go.
to be the best product, to be the best company, to be the best service, whatever that is. That's what we do. And the way we do that is we have this amazing environment in which we work and we all work together. Um, Teams like that will hold each other accountable if somebody's goofing off, and the peer pressure to perform at a high level on a regular basis best you can is quite high because we all know you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't perform at a high level, or if you are a slacker, your teammates will let you know that.
Yeah.
And
So
as long as
talk to
they
me about
hmm,
mission.
mission,
Because I
mission
think we
is
do forget that in the workplace.
yeah,
It's they're the boss or they're the that or they, and really it's about fulfilling on a mission.
yeah.
And I
What are we
think
doing
we
this for?
sometimes
It's the
forget.
it's the why. Why are we doing this? Right? We're not just making widgets. We're doing this for
Mhm.
what? Why do we do this? And how do we do it? What's our mission? Our mission is to be the best, to provide the best service, the best customer experience. What is the mission? What do we do? And how do we do that? And that has to permeate the business. Everybody has to know it, feel it, live it. Now, sometimes you get folks into the business that maybe would be better off someplace else and you have to liberate them. Sometimes we get folks that are in the wrong job and we have to find them a better fit in position. But regardless of what you're doing here, you have to understand, why do we do it? What do we do and why do we do it? Um, and you just stay focused on, we are the best, right? And everybody has to buy into it. Everybody has to be sold out to it. It's not
Yeah.
just a job. I mean, if
Or sometimes reminded, like I hear in my head when I say, "Oh, our mission," I'm like, do. Like we're fulfilling on a promise that we make to our customers. And what
right.
I love about business is all business is about improving someone's quality of life through your product or your service. So when I'm thinking about that and I'm reminding my team, it's about getting this project fulfilled
Hmm.
for our
Hmm.
clients, then it doesn't necessarily matter who made that mistake. It's like, oh no, we have this. Are we still going to fulfill on our mission? Yes or no?
Sometimes one of the best things that you can do for your employees is allow them to talk to your customers
Yeah.
and understand. Well, when I was in the automotive aftermarket, we made internal engine components for antique and classic cars. Our parts were never seen. They weren't bright. They weren't shiny, blah, blah, blah. And so our employees didn't really know what they did. So what we would do is we would bring hot rod and collector cars on property and let them see, this is what our products do. They go in these vehicles and they do this and do that. Allowing your
That's amazing.
employees to understand, this is where our products go. This is what the people who buy our products think about our products. This is why it matters, right? Because now it becomes personal. Oh my God, I didn't realize I do this little part, but it plays this big part in what I'm doing.
Yeah,
It matters.
you're speaking my passion. I volunteer with workforce development, and
Hmm.
I do believe that part of what we call the great resignation, I think people aren't necessarily fulfilled because there's a disconnect and they don't see that connection to the
Uh-uh.
work we do.
Uh-uh.
I remember running a half marathon and I was in the runner high, but I was looking at every little detail of what it took to pull on one day event just for fun, from
Yeah.
people putting out volunteers picking up cups and water and roping off streets. And so I think that's amazing for companies to be able to do that for their team so
Yeah.
that they can see that the work makes a difference, right? Sometimes we feel like we're one little cog and we don't see the connection,
Don't see no. Yeah.
but we have freeways to
Employees.
drive on. And I mean, the world is an amazing place because of all the work that's done.
Yeah. Employees have to fall in love with what they do and why they do it and the product. Um, but they have to have inspired leadership too. I mean, somebody at the top has to be preaching the gospel of, aren't we cool? Aren't you cool? Because this is what
Yeah.
you do that helps us be better. And people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses. So if I'm not inspired to do my job, if I don't have a leader who loves this as much as I think I should or more, if I don't have a cheerleader in the stand, figuratively speaking, coaching me on, somebody who understands that I'm a person and not just a number, I'm going to leave, right? And
Yeah.
not because the pay was off, maybe it was, but because I wasn't inspired to work for the individual.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that's what happens, right? I don't leave the
Oftentimes, I think it's
company.
our human desire to be seen
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Well, we're people.
well, do you have any advice for someone who, because sometimes I think that we keep thinking it's out there, like if my boss does this or if the job is, and then they jump ship and they go
Mm,
somewhere else or they do something else. And then they have the similar scenario, right? And so I start to say to myself, like, well, what's the common denominator here?
yeah,
Sometimes I feel like people think they can be in dead end jobs, but it's because they themselves aren't stepping up or seeing an opportunity. What do
there
you
it
think
is.
about?
I'll tell you what I think about that. So happy you asked.
Oh,
So
good.
I tell people there's no such thing as a bad job. No such thing. Regardless of where you're working, you are where you are. Maybe it's not your forever job, but there's no such thing as a bad job, provided they did not come to your house early in the morning, handcuff you, drag you to work, throw you at work. If you showed up willingly, if they pay you, if you cash the check, that's not a bad job. You voluntarily chose to be here. So if you are going to be there, you should be a student of how do we do this here? How does this company sell? How does this company produce? How does this company treat its employees? How does HR work? How does accounting? How does finance? How does management? How does the supply chain work? You can be a student, especially for younger workers who are still trying to figure out what that forever job might look like. They have to be students because in college we preach do an internship, do an internship. Well, what's an internship? An internship is a part-time job. Really? Right? You show up someplace for a period of time, they pay you and you learn something. Well, wherever you are, if you're being paid and you're learning, how is that bad? Now, if you want a better job, that's your responsibility. What do you have to do to get better? We're paid for bringing value to the marketplace, not by showing up, right? If you
Mhm.
just want to show up and get paid, that's Walmart, right? Welcome to Walmart. But if you want to make more money, you have to provide more value and learning how do I provide value? Um,
Yeah. And I think
because
that's again that disconnect,
yeah,
right? Is that I think that we are kind of grow up in this culture where we think we're trading time for money. I tell my employees, I'm not paying you for your time.
no, I'm
No,
bringing you for the value that you
value,
bring.
the
Yeah.
value that you bring.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also try to help folks understand that you must take on full responsibility for your career. You as a person, you as an employee. If it's not working out for you, go to the mirror because that's the person you need to talk to. If you need more skills, that's on you. If you need more education, that's on you. If you need a better network, right? And networking is huge. We haven't talked about networking, but the people you hang around definitely will shape what happens to you and where you go and how you think. And if you're hanging around second graders, it's not likely you're going to get very far, right? Unless you're a
Mhm.
teacher, that's your job. But you have to look for who am I hanging around and what are they doing to me, right? What are we
Yeah.
talking about? What am I doing to get better? What am I reading, right? What am I listening to?
Yeah, what are my
Um,
daily conversations? How do we
yeah,
spend our time?
yeah.
Yeah, the I exposure, it took me a long time to realize how valuable exposure is. You know,
Yep.
many books later,
Um,
where it's like, oh, those are opportunities. And also I want to emphasize because some people
mm,
get a little uncomfortable when you say, oh, who's responsible? They're like, oh, are you saying it's my fault? It's not about blame. It's
uh,
about putting yourself in the driver's seat and either taking opportunity, recognizing opportunity, or creating opportunity.
yeah.
If you think you're in a position where there's no chance for growth, then your eyes are probably shut. I know most business owners don't have an adequate succession plan. You could probably take over the entire business. Oh, so we only have a few more minutes, but
Yes,
can you, on that note, I mean, you were a CEO of a manufacturing
I
company, you
was.
got in this, right? You've been in these leadership roles.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
You know what? This is gonna sound ugly. I don't know. I don't know. It's this thing
Wanting to
in
say erase, erase, erase. No, I'm kidding.
it's this thing in me that if I'm going to be involved, I want to run it. I want to be in control. And it's just me as a person, right? And now all these years down the road, I don't do subordinate well at all. I make a really bad employee.
Mm,
Um, Being a leader is just something that's always it has been attractive to me. Not, it pays better, of course, but just because I want to be in charge, I want to shape the future, I want to make things happen, and
interesting.
possibly, honestly. it could be because I've never had a good boss, and that's the truth. I've never had a good boss. I've never had a mentor on being a boss. Um, I was raised by a father who taught me to be independent and do things for myself and figure it out and just get it done. And so all through my career, it's always been just figure it out. And you get, if you do your job just a little bit better than everybody else, they promote you. It's just the natural progression of things. And the next thing you know, they call you director, supervisor, boss, vice president, CEO. In fact, when they made me CEO of the manufacturing firm that I ran, I had to call that day and cancel a job interview, which is weird because I was looking to go. And the next thing I know, and I wasn't expecting this, I wasn't on the ticket. I don't know what happened. They said, "Oh, by the way, we want to make you CEO." I said, "Damn, what did I do something to you?" I mean, I don't know. But once you make me in charge, once you put me in charge, then let me be in charge. Let me do it. It's attractive to me. I like to be in charge. Most people are afraid of it.
Mhm.
They're afraid to be in
Again, I
charge.
think
It's
of
like,
the responsibility, right? They don't
yeah.
want to be at fault for things going wrong. I think, at least in my experience of observing my own employees that I want to step into more of a leadership role, I think it's
Well,
their comfort level with the responsibility, quote unquote.
as long as you're not being stupid and you're not trying to hurt people, that's been my lessons have been most things can be corrected, can be undone. I remember taking on a job one time and being asked, "How are we going to do this?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do it. I just know that we're going to do it and we're going to figure it out as we go." Right. So I don't have to have it all mapped out. We can go, you go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you can see further. Right. And everything can be corrected. Nothing has to be.
So
And that's what happened.
you're
Yeah.
very comfortable with the realm of the unknown. I
Oh,
think that's where
yeah,
most people get scared.
they do. They
They're
do.
not
It's just,
afraid of failing, I find. They're afraid of succeeding because they don't know what it looks like. Like,
oh,
then
yeah.
what?
Yeah. I love when it all goes smash and we have to clean it up and figure it out again.
Oh, you like it. That's
Right.
exciting for you.
Yeah. Because, we're learning stuff. We're being, it's not cookie cutter. This isn't a franchise. We don't run a franchise. We don't make the same burger the same way
Right.
every day. It's something new, something exciting. We're changing, we're growing. We're, as Steve Jobs said, we're trying to put a dent in the universe. We're
I wanted to answer the question myself. I put myself in leadership roles for different reason. We have a slightly different personality, but for me, the leadership role is the place of accountability.
mm,
If I want something accomplished, there is no better way than to
yep,
commit to making it happen.
yeah,
If I want to do something for myself, I create that momentum right away, and I'm almost guaranteed to have it seen through. And
yeah.
every venture, every business I've started, I'll start with a little voice that was like, "Oh, I think I can do that." And so I'm like, "Well, what could I do to hold myself to account?" But bam, you form a business. Or you make a phone call and you volunteer. I can take that role. Or
hmm
yeah.
hmm Yeah. And for me, there's no other option. I don't like watching other people work. I just like to do it.
Oh,
It's just,
my brother-in-law says he loves work. He can watch it all
I
day.
could watch it all day. Yeah, it drives me crazy. Yeah, it just drives me crazy. And I guess some of, for me, like I said, people are afraid to make decisions. People are afraid to be accountable. People are afraid to step up. And I've just learned that why not? I mean, what's the worst that's gonna what could happen, right?
You could die.
Oh, no, no, we're not gonna die. It's all gonna be fine because my experience has been it always works out. It always works out.
Does.
It
It
it always
does.
works out. So I'm not afraid.
Wisdom, we figure that out. Well, thank you so much. We are up against time.
Understood.
You gave a lot of value. If people want more of you, where can they find you? I know you're in transition, but I love
Uh
that you have right there. You can.
Silver's Connection. That's my podcast. I'm on LinkedIn. Ernie Silvers on LinkedIn. That's where you find me quickest and fastest. No website because LinkedIn has kind of been my virtual playground.
And you
So that's
welcome
where I go.
people stalking you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get people that reach out and say, I saw you here. I heard you there. I want to know more. So LinkedIn is where you find me. That's the place.
Well, thank you so much for the difference you make.
Thank
You
you.
are a gift to all of us. And sometimes you see it, I'm sure, and sometimes you might not, but I see it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
And again, if you're listening, please don't forget to subscribe and join us for another episode. I hope you got some value from today. And I want to challenge you to put it to work right away with that spark of inspiration. Don't wait. Put yourself in the leadership role. If you're moved to do that, whatever it is, do it now. Thanks
Absolutely.
again.
All right.